The Cultural Development Foundation on the weekend facilitated frank discussion on the way forward for pan music in St. Lucia. Jesse Leos has more in this report.
The way forward for steel pan in St. Lucia was up for discussion among stakeholders at the Cultural Development Foundation this past Saturday. According to Ember Charles, facilitator of the Steel Pan Symposium, the pan movement is recognizably strong with committed members with special popularity among young persons. However, one of the critical issues noticed was that people's perception of pan is more of not wanting to learn the musical form but just wanting to play.
What happened here is that we realized we were able to put our finger on some of the key issues of constraints. It has a lot to do with organization and management of the movement. There has to be a long-term vision of where we want to go. A lot of the energy of the band association and the bands is sucked by one of the only major event they have during the day is Panorama. And one has to sort of separate Panorama from other developmental activities. So they have put in place some kind of structure, some kind of some suggestions on how best to do that. Otherwise, you'll be on a yearly basis. Once Panorama is over, you have drained so much of the energy and the resources of the pan movement that they can only recover just before Panorama. CDF has come on board and assisted in helping in moving the movement in the pans forward by providing necessary expertise. So that hopefully would set us on the path to a more organized, sustained pan movement in St. Lucia.
Chairman of the Cultural Development Foundation, Petrus Compton, says that the Steel Pan Circle was the most persistent group in seeking support from the CDF to strengthen its organization. With new mandates of the CDF board in focusing on the various sectors, PAN is expected to get its fair share of support in crossing it over to being economically viable.
Of course, PAN is much more appreciated today than it was, say, 30 years ago. But we still have to look at how does the business and commercial sector see PAN. Do they see it as a viable partner for the advertising business and a long-term partner? Do they see PAN in the same way they see other activities? So shaping a relationship with the commercial sector, shaping a relationship with parents and with the wider community.
He added that plans are in the pipelines for strengthening PAN in the school system.
We know there's excitement in the schools about PAN. And so we have to work closely with the Ministry of Education. We have to work closely with CAMDU and the music specialists in CAMDU in shaping a development program for PAN in schools. And some exciting ideas came out, for example, like a national schools PAN orchestra, which would have panists from all schools in a giant orchestra, playing all kinds of music, classical music, jazz, calypso, soca, zouk, compa, everything, reggae and all. So we want to be able to excite the school kids about playing and staying in PAN.
In 2010, CDF received a grant from the UNESCO IFCD project. 8 steel bands were part of the training initiative with 300 young persons having participated. The project culminated in last year's Junior Panorama.
All of the issues that we've been grappling with were raised today, and we're hoping that a lot of attention will be given to it and see if we could get better for the future. Most critical was management. We've been lacking in most of the better part of 13 years. We've been lacking in management area, so we're trying to see if we could strengthen that area. Other areas we spoke about was tuning, because if you know, we have a problem with tuners in St. Lucia. We don't have many of them. So right now, just about 2 professional tuners, and they are on their way out. And training again with terms of the youth arranging and this other thing, even trying to get them involved in the tuning and building of PAN, because this is a very critical aspect for us in St. Lucia.
A definitive action plan is expected to be derived from the Steel Pan Symposium. For the CTV News, I am Jesse Leons.